Welcome back to the Breeders' Cup News Minute powered by DRF Formulator. Coming up, we'll have a Formulator Fact about the Juvenile. After all, it is Future Stars Friday, and we are here to predict the future. Right, Ray?
That's right. We got 5 Future Stars Friday races that are official Breeders' Cup races on the San Diego program. Let's get into it.
All right, let's start with the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint. Now, this race is only in its second year. Last year, Bulletin won it for Todd Pletcher. This year, interesting group, diverse, some overseas, some based here. Who do you like?
I like Ali. We're going to see Frankie Dettori do his famous flying dismount after the first Breeders' Cup races to get things warmed up. This horse has really got a nice turn of foot.
In these turf sprint races, I like the Americans better than the Europeans in general, and I really like California-based horses who are running in turf sprints in California. So I've narrowed it down to Encoder, who is 15-1 on the morning line. I think they're going to go really fast early. I think the inside post of number 5 is an advantage, and I think Flavien Prat will sit back a little bit and then make one run, and hopefully it'll be a winning one for me.
All right, in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf, I went with Christophe Clement-trained Decorated Invader. Christophe Clement has an 0 for 36 Breeders' Cup record. This is the year, this is the race that losing streak ends. All right, the third Breeders' Cup race on Friday moves to the dirt surface, the Juvenile Fillies. Bast is the Bob Baffert horse that won the local prep here, the Grade 1 prep. But I am not going with Bast. I'm going with Wicked Whisper. Steve Asmussen's won the Frizette by open lengths. I think she's going to be particularly tough here.
I agree with that pick, but I'll, for the sake of being different, I'll pick another horse. I'll go with Donna Veloce, who has the rail. It's only her second start. Simon Callahan, it was a very good start. She's stretching out a bit, but again, the locally based horses on the dirt, I like to see that. So Donna Veloce for me, I think she could go gate to wire.
All right, next up is the Juvenile Fillies Turf, and this is a race that's been completely dominated by Americans. I think Chad Brown.
9 of 11.
9 of 11. Chad Brown has won 5 of them.
Yeah.
And so naturally, I'm going with a European. Dahlia, trained by Roger Averian, who's 0 for 5 in the Breeders' Cup. He's had a second and a third. You go back and look at her European races. This is a really nice filly.
Chad Brown does have a filly in this race. She drew a bad post, number 13. Her name is Selflessly. And Chad Brown's won this 5 times. The last 4 of the last 5. This is Chad Brown's race. But because of the post, I'm going to go with a different American. I'm sticking with the American-based horses. Sharing, who's trained by Graham Motion, who has not won this particular race, but he's won 3 Breeders' Cup races on the turf. And this is a daughter of Shared Account. And if you'll remember, she won several years ago the Breeders' Cup filly and mare turf for Motion.
Okay, we move back to the dirt for the Juvenile, the race where you start looking for Derby contenders for next year. I know Dale Romans told us yesterday this is not a 2-horse race. There's more horses in here than just his horse, Dennis's Moment, and Bob Baffert's 8 Rings. No, Dale, this is a 2-horse race. I'm afraid you're wrong. And I think you've got the right horse. Dennis's Moment came out here early. He got a good work over the track. This is a really top colt, and I think he's the horse to beat here.
I think he's the real deal, and I do agree that he is the horse to beat. But, I like long shots. So in this race, I'm going to go outside those top 2 to a horse trained by Steve Asmussen named Shoplifted, 20-1 morning line. Asmussen is having a great year. He's good at the Breeders' Cup. He's good at the Breeders' Cup in California. So watch out for Shoplifted to pull off the upset.
All right, today's Formulator Fact involves the Juvenile, and it involves 8 Rings. Purely Hot is the dam of 8 Rings. She won 12 of 32 races. At one point, she was claimed for $4,000 at Penn National. Then she went on to win a Grade 3 stakes at Woodbine, and now she's the dam of a Grade 1 winner. So that's an interesting fact.
I love digging up these facts. You can find them at drf.com/formulator. That's going to do it for this edition of the Breeders' Cup News Minute. Enjoy your Friday.